Okay, we're in the middle of a sugya, machloikis gevach. First of all, machloikis between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Reish Lakish, where the Eishim Shem Chitzav and Eishim Shem Memono, just to get us, get us back into the Baba Kama spirit. An Eish is one of the Arba Avos Nezikin. If you would take a fire and go put it on a person, that's not Eish, that's Adam Amazik. Eish is a mazik because something else causes it to be a mazik. Fire itself is not a mazik. Here it is, it's burning. This fire is going to do nothing. It only do something when a wind comes along and what we call the koyach achamur of boy. That koyach acha that moves it from point A to point B, how do we view it? Do we view it like a person doing the damage, like another throws shoots an arrow, or do we view it like mimono? This Eish is your mammon, just as Yeshar is your mammon and Yabar is your mammon doing damage. The taina of Rabbi Yochanan was Eish has no mamashis, it has no tangibility, so it can't be mimono. A shar has tangibility, even a bar has tangibility. Even if you're going to hold a bar with the chiyuv because of the noxious gas, you had to dig it to go ahead and create the noxious gas. In addition, it could be the walls around it that keeping the air in there, that not keeps it at that noxious air. So it could be what you dug created it. So therefore, there's an action. Where Reish Lakish is a very, very, to me, svardik reason. Why is Eishim Mishimimono not Chitzyav? Is because the Eish goes me'alaha. It goes me'alaha. It doesn't go as a result of a force. In other words, the wind that causes it is not like an Adam that put the force in there. Rashi said me'aleh, me'atzma, it goes by itself. So since it goes by itself, it can't be chitzav, it can't be the person. Okay. So we went ahead and we explained our Mishnah. How do we get into this? From our Mishnah. Our Mishnah said is a kelev shenatal charara, v'halach legadish, v'achal charara, v'serves the gadish. He eats the cookie and he burns down the gadish because there was an ember connected to the bottom of the charara. Everyone admits he pays on the charara. He's going to pay nesek shalem. That's called the masik of shame. The question is, where's the chatzi nezek? So like Rabbi Yochanan, it's not a problem. You're going to pay chatzi nezek. The point where it came down is eish. The point where it came down is nezek shalem. That's eish. And when it goes ahead and it goes and flows, then that is kayach. That's tzroiris. Tzroiris is chatzi nezek. So on the makom where it landed, you'll pay nesek shalem, and the rest of the haystack you're going to pay chatzi nesek. Lo Reish Lakish that it says it's memono. So where's the chiyuv? How do you have a chiyuv of chatzi nesek? So it's speaking where you went ahead and you flung it. That the dog flung the biscuit, and after he ate it, and the ember went and landed on the haystack. So therefore, the place that it landed is tzroiris. And beyond that, what goes beyond that, you would be potter on. That's an application of the machlokas between the two, and what the chiyuv on the haystack would be. So today we're going to finish off the sugya and get into another sugya of how do we view the mouth of the animal. So we're up to chaf beis amid beis. Chaf beis amid beis. We are 4 lines from the bottom. 4 lines from the bottom. Chaf beis amid beis. Amar Rava. Kro umasnita Messiah leil Rabbi Yochanan. A pasuk and a brisa. They're supportive of the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan that Eishav is Mishum Chitzyav. They're supportive of that Eishav is Mishum Chitzyav. How do you see that? Kra, the pasuk says, Kiseitze Eish. The pasuk says, guys, Kiseitze Eish umatza kaitzim, v'nechal gadish ayakama. If an Eish goes out, it finds thorns, or it eats a haystack or standing grain, ayasada, shalim mishalim amave es habe'era. Who should pay? Hama'avir, the person who lit it. Ma'avir means the person who lit it. So it begins, the pasuk seems to say, it goes out by itself. And in other words, I didn't do it. The Eish went out by itself. That's our discussion, where the Eish starts by you and it goes out from point A to point B. Who pays? Hama'avir, the one who lit it. That's mashma, the lashon of Adam Amazik, the one who lit it, the one who did it. It's mashma, it's not the chiyuv is because he owns it. It's the chiyuv that he did an action. In this case, he knew matcha correctly. But the key word being is hamavir. So mavir sabeir is mashma dawad. It's the Adam Amazik. Shema mina Eishim Mishum Chitza. And therefore you have a raya Eishim Mishum Chitza. Mas Nisan, where's your brisa? The Tanya. We'll see Beis Hashem and Daf Samech on the base. Pasuk HaKosav Beniskei Mamoinai. Again, the pasuk says Kiseitze Eish. Mashma, the H goes out by itself, and then it ends up in the skegufay, right? It ends up in the skegufay, the korile mavir, right? We're calling that what mavir. The H went out by itself, and yet we're calling it mavir, as if a person went ahead and lit it, as if a person what mavir, that mavir the hisik me'atzmai. In other words, it starts out as Eish, which is a separate entity. And then it ends up saying Hamavir, the one who did it, the one who ignited it. So why is it saying the one who ignited it? Because to stress that the chiyuv is on that one, on the Adam, on the person, not on the Eish itself. It's on the person. So therefore, the Bryce itself, the fact it starts off by saying Niske Mamono, and then it says Niske Gufo. Gufo means himself, where the Adam himself does the damage. So we have a Brysa that is a Mishnah that's a pasuk that's a right to Rabbi Yochanan, and a Bryce that's a right to Rabbi Yochanan. That would be now. Having said that, the Gemara now is going to see that Rabbi Yochanan agrees to Reish Lakish. Having said that, the Gemara that agrees to Reish Lakish. Amar Rava, says Rava. Amar Rava, Kashli Labaya. Rabbi had a question. Very interesting. Rav is quoting Abaya's question. Right? Very interesting. Rav is quoting Abaya's question. Amar Rava, Kashli Labaya. Lemadi Amar Eishem Shemchitzav. Like the Madi Amar says Eishem Shemchitzav. We know by Eish there is one of the Pturim. It's called Taman. It says Kiseitze Yeshu Macha Kaitzim V'nechal Agadish Hayakama. Just like Kama is something that is revealed, right? So too, in order for Eish to be Chaim, it's something that's to be revealed. So if you have a haystack and there's something hidden in the haystack and the fire burns the haystack, you'll be potter. Providers, we're going to see it's not something that's normal in the haystack. If it's a tractor or something that's normally found there, then you might be chayiv. But you are chayiv. But again, if it's something common based, what's the kasha? We don't find Adam Amazik having a patur of taman. We don't find Adam Amazik having a patur of taman. If you're going to hold Eisha Mishum Chitzav, how do you have a patur of taman? How does it exist? How does it exist? In other words, Bishlema, guys, if you hold Eish B'Shum Mimainai. So let's go through it. We have Shar is Mammon that does damage, Bar is Mammon that does damage, Eish is Mammon that does damage. Each one of these things has a unique halacha. This is the way Taisus explains it. Each one of these things has a unique halacha. So, for example, by Bar, Shar v'lay Adam, if an Adam falls in a Bar Yipata, Chamar v'lay Kalim, there's a patur of Adam, there's a patur of Kalim by Bar. So there's your mom and you own the bar, you're the Bala bar, and nonetheless, there are certain halachas that are unique to bar. You partner on Adon, you partner on Kalim. If you're a Shar, Shane, Regel, where's the Chiyiv? Rishus Harabim, Rishus Hanizik. It's partner Rishus Harabim. In other words, it has it's unique halacha. So Memela, Eish, if it's Mamin, it has unique halacha, it's partner Taman. But if you're going to tell me that Eish is Mishum Chitzav, and therefore the chiyuv is like Adam Mazik, why do you have a patur wad of? Where's your patur of taman? Where's your patur of taman? Okay. There's another explanation that the patur of taman, the svara is you're an honest. You don't know what's hidden there. How can you hold him responsible? And the answer is Adam muad lo'ilam. If you hold Eisha Mishum Chitzav, Adam is a muad even on an oinus. So therefore you will be chayiv there as well. So the bottom line of the kasha is, if you hold Eisha Mishum Chitzav, why are you pater and tamin? I understand by Mamono you pater. It's no different than the different halachas that exist by Bar and Shar. So there's a different halacha that exists by Eisha, unique halacha. But why if you hold? Says the Gemara, I'll answer you. So, here's the case. Because he's got a fire in his chutzah, guys. Now, guys, his chutzah is surrounded by a stone fence. What's the distance that his fire could go? He doesn't watch it correctly. Comes along a ruach mitsuya, a normal found wind. How far can this eish go? L'chore can only go up to the fence. Correct, guys? It can only go up to the fence because there's a stone fence over there. So therefore, you have a fire in the chutzner. The nafla get goder, shaloi machmas the leka. And let's say the fence falls down, not as a result of the flame, but as a result of what? Of I don't know, let's say a gopher or something went ahead and destroyed the foundation and it fell down. Some animal burrowed underneath the fence and it fell down. So now, when he lit the fire, guys, and the one came along, it can only go to point A. Point A is no longer there. But anything beyond point A is not his chitzav. You understand? The only chitzav, the power that I have is from point A to point B. Whatever the amount it could go. Point B over here is your fence. It can't go beyond that. So for all intents and purposes, I watched it. I didn't watch it correctly because obviously a fire moved it, but it can't move it beyond that fence. Memela, that's my chitz. That's my, as far as I could shoot. It's like shooting at a wall. You shoot an arrow, it can't go beyond the wall. All of a sudden, punk, the wall falls down, and then the arrow continues going. That point in time when the arrow continues going, you would not be chayav for. Why? Because your chitz ended at that wall. Beyond that, it's an honest that you couldn't possibly have gone ahead and fathom. Like this, there is an honest. There is, by the way, there is an honest by Adam that you are plotted for. We're going to see in Anamania. There is such an honest. So when you lit this fire, the fire was limited to going to this fence. Now the fence fell down. What happens? And now it goes with Liko Vizika B'Chatzacheres. The Hasam Kol Lachitzav. Over there what? It's Eshim's not going to be Shem Chetz. So in Mela you're going to be what? Potter on Taman. Why? Because it's Eshem Mishemesh. It's not Mishum Chitzav now. Or Fredrik Morakasha. I got a great kasha, guys. If your Chetz ended at the fence, why only Potter and Taman? You should be Potter on everything. I watched it. I watched this fire. It's a Ruach Mitsuya. I had a fence there. My fence ensured that I did a good shmira. So for the Gemara, Ihachi, that's the case. The Inyan Goli Nami Kalalai Chitzav. The Inyan what's not only Taman, but the Inyan what's not Taman, what's revealed, and you should be Potter completely. So that's not a good case. So guess what? Because of this kasha, Rabbi Yochanan will admit and agree with Reish Lakish. Elo lemanda islay mishum chitzyav, islay nami mishum emaynai. The one Rabbi Yochanan who says that islay mishum chitzay, he also holds him emaynai. Okay, going. So over here, why you chayiv over here? Then you want to know why you chayiv, guys. So the question: if it's maman amazik, why you chayiv? We're going shahoyloi legoydroi v'loi godra. What? He should have gone ahead. He had time from the time the flame came, even though the fence fell down, he had time to fix the fence. So therefore, that's why he's chayiv. Right? The hasam, it's similar. The shoyer who v'loi tafech ba'pei. He has a shoyer in a barn and he doesn't close the door. So therefore, over here he has an eish and he doesn't close the door because it doesn't reveal the fence. Okay. Fred Gemara Kasha. Now that you hold that the Manda Omar who holds, right? There's a Manda Omar who holds that Rabbi Yochanan agrees with Reish Lakish, what's the nafkamina? Now this is a it's a shver kasha, guys. You have family nafkaminas you have. We just went through a whole Gemara. Kelev Shnata Charara. We began to share when it comes to the haystack. Like Rabbi Yochanan, you be chayiv on the whole haystack chatzin ezek. Like Reish Lakish, you only be chayiv on the part that it landed on. We had the case of the chanus sichsacha. How to say it? Speaking with what? Where sichsacha in the chanus, or else why without that you need why would you be chayiv? Like Reish Lakish, why would you be chayiv without sichsacha? Right? These are all nafkaminas. Like Reish Lakish, like Rabbi Yochanan, you did not need sichsacha. You didn't need the camel going right. As soon as the camel started the fire, it would be chayiv. So what's the Gemara's kasha? My binayu. You have all the binayus that was before. Okay, I'm going to give you the easiest way out. It's guys, it's so interesting. I spent the day, I did a Rashi, and Rashi says to me, he says, V'loshen Rishon Ikka. I could not find Rashi's Loshen Rishon for the life of me. In a Sefer, I looked up and says, the Gemara doesn't bring down Rashi's, it doesn't bring down Rashi's Loshen, Where's Rashi's Loshen? It's in the Chachma Shloima, the Yamshel Shloima, the Shloima Luria wrote a pirish. It's in the back of the Chachma Shloima. This is what he says. He says very succinctly, if you hold Eshe Mishum Mamoinai, now if you're going to hold Eshe Shum Mamoinai, So therefore, all those nafkaminas fall off. All the nafkaminas. In other words, Reish Rabbi Yochanan is agreeing with Reish Lakish. He's agreeing Yesh Mishum Maynai. So Mamela Vesis Mishum Maynai. You wouldn't be chayiv on the rest of what? On the rest of the Gadish. You would not need sichsacha. You would need sichsacha, the whole thing. So Mamela, once he holds Mamono and all those things before that we covered, all those things before we covered, there's no nafkamina now. So what's the nafkamina? Says the Gemara. Tell me what nafkamina is. The chayvay be'arba devarim, to be chayav mat in sar ripoy, nezek sar ripoy in sheves. We know when a person damages another person, fellas, there's 5 chiyuvim. Pay for the damage, to pay for the tsar, and we're going to get to the 8th perik in this masechta, and we'll go ahead and say how you evaluate each one. You pay for the doctor bills, you pay for the disability, and you pay for boishes. If your animal, your chetz does damage, you're not paying for boishes. Boishes has to be b'kavana. So since your aish doing damage, if you would go ahead and burn a person, right? You burn a person, there's no kavana for boishes, you pay for those 4 things. Late Reish Lakish, you pay only the nezek. Late Rabbi Yochanan, you pay those 4 things. That's the easiest way to learn the Gemara. There are other ways to learn the Gemara, but let's go weiter. Says that, okay, that in a nutshell. Now, we said on the Charora, you're going to pay Nezek Shalem, and on the haystack, you're going to pay Chatzi Nezek. Now, who pays? Guys, who pays? Who pays for the haystack? Man Chayev. Who's Chayev? Bala Kelev. Right? Who's Chayev? Right? The Chatzi Nezek for the haystack. Bala Kelev is Chayev, right? For the Gemara, will Chayev Nami Bala Gacheles, right? You should Chayev also the Bala Gacheles. Look at Rashi. L'chayiv nami hachigasin, l'chayiv nami bal gacheles. But bein mar or bein mar, whether it's Reish Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan, mishum mamono yislo, they all hold a vomin. So whose fire is this? Right, it's their fire. It's the fire of the bal gacheles, right? It's the bal gacheles' fire. Hilkach, Rabbi Yochanan damar le'el al godish b'shalim chatzi nezek. The tzroyer is saying the shalim bal gacheles chatzi acher. You should pay the other half. The hamamoinahu. Right, he should go ahead and shalim balagacheles kula. He should pay the whole thing. Again, if you hold Eitz of Mishum Mimono, so the Bal Kelev it's Eisha. The Bal Kelev should be put completely, and the Bal Gacheles who owns it should be chayav. So in other words, Freding Marakasha, why are you telling me only the Bal Kelev, the dog, is paying for the haystack? Why not is what the Bal Gacheles? This one. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why about Cheles. He watched it. He watched his embers. Fred the Gemara, my boy Kelev Hassam. How'd the dog get in? How'd the dog get in to go ahead and take it? Says the Gemara, he went ahead and he dug underneath it. He dug underneath the fence. In other words, he had a barbecue going, he had a fence around the barbecue, and therefore he was watched. The dog dug underneath the fence. Now, when you're telling me this is a good shmirah, this is a good shmir. Taisus brings this is not the kidnatri entry. He watched like normal men watch. The shem is only mechuyev to watch like a normal person watches. This person watched like a normal person. The dog dug underneath the fence, and therefore the bal gachelis is pata because I don't have to go ahead and take that into account. And that's what the Gemara says now. So Amar Rav Mori Breder Rav Kana Zoysen Meres. We hear from here. Stam dal sois chasuras and etzel kelev. Most doors are considered what chasuros etzel kelev. Right, so it's considered closed, and this one went ahead and dug underneath, so it's considered what? It's considered beyond something you could have anticipated. Therefore, the Baal Kelev is Chayiv and not the Baal Gacheles. Now, question: this is the whole new Gemara now. Where did he eat the cookie? Where did he eat the cookie? Where did he eat the cookie? He couldn't eat in his rishus. Remember, you're mechayev for shame, right? You're chayev for shame. It must be that he ate it in the field of the person who owns the haystack, or else he wouldn't be chayav for shame. It says, if he ate it in a stama godish, another person's godish, then you'd be potter. Ella must be the achla begodish the bal charara. He must have ate it. In other words, guys, watch. My dog takes a biscuit from Benji and eats it by Kenny. I'm potter. That's not bistayachar. It has to eat it in Benji's rishus, guys. Here, he has to eat the cookie. Bir bistayachar doesn't mean not my rishus. Be'er b'ste'acher means the reshus of the person whose cookie it was. So therefore, when it says the Baal Charara is chayiv, it must be that he ate it in the Baal Charara's, that the Baal Kelev is chayiv for Shane. It must be he ate it in the person who owns the Charara. Like the Achla Begadish, the Baal Charara. So now, if it's burning down the Gadish, it must be that what? That the Gadish of the Baal Charara. So I'm chayiv for Shane. I'm chayiv for what? For the Gadish. So this dog is burning down, eating Benji's cooking and burning down Benji's haystack. Now, here's the question: how do you view the mouth? The Gemara is going to paskin now a shaila that we have. Now, guys, outside, Gemara is going to do a very interesting thing. Usually, the Gemara asks a shaila, and then at the end it paskins the shaila. Over here, the Gemara is going to paskin the shaila, and then go say what the shaila was. So, in other words, we're going to give you the answer, and then the Gemara is going to go ahead and figure out what the shaila was. Okay, what's happening over here? My dog. I mean, Menachem, he always calls in the middle of Shir. Go pick it up. I did, call him up. Call him back, call Menachem. Okay. So my dog is eating it in Benji's Rishus. The Gemara has the following shaila. How do you view my dog's mouth? Do you view it as the Rishus of the Nizik, or do you view it as the Rishus of the Mazik? Do you view it as the reshus of the person that's getting damaged, or do you view it as the owner of the animal? If you view it of the owner of the animal, then he's going to be potter. Of course, it's not uber b'ste'acher. And naturally, the Gemara is going to ask how, and then would you ever find the case of shame? If you're going to hold at the dog's mouth, wherever he takes it, it's a portable chutzner of his own. It's not be'er b'ste'acher, right? That's going to be Gemara's kasha. But the bottom line is we can prove from the case unequivocally that since my dog is eating the charara in the reshus of the Baal Gadish, or the Baal Charara, that it must be that the charara is considered in his reshus. And that's a psak. And that's the psak. That's the psak. Says the Gemara. The achla begadish Baal Charara. Now, tifshit, let's be poishit, the pi para, the mouth of the para, in this case it's a dog, right? That the pi para, ki chatzar nizik dami. It's like the chatzar of a nizik. That it's like considered the chatzar of the one that's getting damaged. The chatzar mazik, because if it's like the chatzar of the mazik, of the one doing the damage, leimalei, my boy riftecha bepuma the cowboy. What's your cookie doing in my dog's mouth? Rishus hanizik, we said a Mishnah, guys. Where is the chiyuv in the zakin? Rishus hanizik. What happens to Rishus HaMazik? An animal wanders into the Rishus and gets damaged. Torcha Bishusi, my boy, what's your shar doing in my Rishus? What's your cookie doing in the animal's mouth? Ella, when you're chayiv, it must be you view the animal's mouth as what? As the field of the nizik. That's the final psak. There's nothing to talk about. Zehu. That's it. Ein ma ledaber od. There's nothing to talk about. The Gemara now, very interestingly enough, will bring the shaila. The Gemara now will bring the shaila. Instead of having the shaila and the Gemara being posted at the end of the shaila, we will post the shaila agav our Mishnah, because we're using the case of our Mishnah of Kelev Shnatel Charara, and now we're going to bring the shaila that was in the base medrash. So now we're going through, it's a moot point, guys, because you know the answer already, guys, right? So again, the mouth of the mazik is considered the field of the nizik. Now, l'chayra, you have a big kasha. If Shane has to be in another person's rishus, how could you ever view it as the mouth of the mazik? What was your shaila? How can it be the mouth of the mazik? You would never have a case of Shane, because no matter where the animal is, it's taking the rishus of the mazik with him in its mouth. So how can you ever have a case of Shane? So the Gemara asked that right away. Di boile, pi para, 3 lines down. Pi para kichatzer and nizik dami, or kichatzer and mazik dami. How do you view the mouth of the mazik, of the animal that does damage? Do you view it as the jurisdiction of the nizik or the mazik? If you're going to tell me it's kechatzer amazik, shein de chaya rachmana hechi mishkachasla. Where are you ever going to find the case of Shane? In other words, if it's pi mazik, you'll never find the case of Shane, because you always could say, "What's your food doing in my rishus?" Because the mouth of the animal is my rishus. Says the Gemara, Amrav Mari, no, I'll tell you a case how you can find it. Amrav Mari, the brother of Kahana, Kigoin, Shenischachacha Bikoisa Lahanasa. The animal, one of the toldos of Shane is rubbing against the wall for its hana, and it knocks down the wall. Or Vitinfa Paris Lahanasa, or it rolls around in Paris, again, to scratch its back, and it dirties the Paris. So over there has nothing to do with entering the person's mouth, and that would be the chiyuv of shame. That would be, in other words, you want a kasha, here's your kasha. How do you view the mouth of an animal? Do you view it the jurisdiction of the nisik or the mazik? Fred the Gemara, if you view it, what kind of shaila is that? If you view it as the jurisdiction of the mazik, you never have a case of shame, because the chiyuv of shame is only a bir bistei acher. It's only in somebody else's field. And over here, you wouldn't have bistei acher. Says the Gemara, you'd find it by tinfa peris la'anasa or neschacha kois la'anasa. I have a problem with this havamina. You mean to tell me what's the av of shame? Obviously, the av of shame is to eat. So the whole case of shame is going to be the tolda. The av is to eat. What's shame? Acheles is a royal. It eats what's right for to eat. So you'd have a havamina that no, there's no such. Only a tolda. Listen. It's my kasha in my head. It's bothering me. Yeah. You have to talk about
it. I also don't understand what's the time to how the cookie get into the dog's mouth. The dog took it there. He did the ma'isa, and it should go after he started the ma'isa. I hope he was rishus to this. He stole the cookie. What kind of time is that? Again,
it could have taken it, but the bottom line is his mouth, where it's in his mouth. How do we view it? In other words, it's a taina I could have. In other words, good he took it, good he ate it, but the bottom line is his mouth is the rishus of the mazik, and therefore we have a loophole to go ahead and say you potter. Again, this is a kasha they had. It's a moot point because you know the answer already, right? But again, I definitely hear your kasha. I don't hear the shaila so strongly. Again, anyway, obviously the Gemara didn't either because we pushed the shaila. Anyway, the Gemara continues off. Maskiv lo mazucha v'beinin kasha yivara gola atoma v'leka. Tell us, going back, all the way back to the beginning of the Masechta. We said, where do you know shame from? We said, where do you know shame from? The Gemara said on Daf Beis Amid Beis, right at the bottom line. It said, Shame v'chinu aimer kashe yivara golo atomo. It goes ahead and it eats the food until it mamish makes it destroys it completely. Now, if you rub against the wall and the wall is still intact, if you go ahead and tell me that shame is that it has to be completely obliterated. So bishleim, if you eat, it's completely obliterated. But if you're telling me rubbing on Paris, I still have Paris there. Rubbing against the wall, I still have a wall there, right? So good, he does damage, but it's not aish. It's not shane. Shane is kishivara galatama. Ubir bisteacher. Ubir kashe yivara. The lashon of yivara at galatomo was going ahead and touching up. It was megala what the word beer means in the pasuk in the Torah in Mishpatim. So therefore, Fred the Gemara Kasha, how could you tell me this tolda, in fact, is the chiyuv of shame, right? And pia paris kichotzer ha mazik dami. It doesn't. You can't. This is not shame. Shame has to be kashivar galatomo. Says the Gemara. I'll tell you where you find it. You know what happens over here? Ravina Omar, the shaft salme. On the wall there was let's say there was an image, and the animal rubbed away the image and destroyed the image. It's totally gone. Rav Ashi Amar, the pasei psuye, in the food, it went ahead and pushed the food into the ground, or it pushed the food and the juice came out, and now there's no juice. In other words, it's yavara gola tomo on the image that was on the wall, and on the fruit, that part of the fruit that's no longer there, that's capable of being eaten. So that would be the kiyam of kasher yavara gola tomo to make it shame. So therefore, the question remains intact. Is pipora kichatzar and this is kichatzar mazik? You'll ask a question there. How do you find shame if it's kichatzar mazik? You'll find shame in the toldas. Hashma, shisha bayas akelev. There's a mishnah in the Sanhedrin. Fellas outside, it's a fascinating concept. Grama bin Izak in his pata. Grama bin Izak in his pata. If I cause damage on pata, if I would go ahead and I would incite an animal, I would incite a dog to attack. You say sick him, whatever, there's a buzzword for dogs. And the dog attacks, Hashem will take care of you. But in this world, that's considered grama. It's considered what? It's considered causing a damage. If you would cause a snake, a venomous snake, you would incite the venomous snake to go ahead and attack a person, the same thing. You'd be potter b'dinei nishmayim. That's the reisha. The seifa of the Mishnah, it says, if you take the poisonous snake and you go ahead and use it as a weapon and put it on the person, that's going to be a machlokes. So let's get into this and see how it goes. It's nagea, the shaila of piparo is kinisik masik nami, which already we have been poishik that it's kinisik. Okay, why does it say the Mishnah in Sanhedrin? Hishich bayas hanachash. You incite. Excuse me, I jumped. Shisa bayas hakelev. You went ahead. Tashma. Shisa bayas hakelev. You went ahead and what? You incited a dog to go ahead and bite somebody. Shisa bayas hanachash, or nachash to go ahead and bite someone. Pata, you pata, right? You pata. Man pata, who's pata? Meshasa pata, right? Meshasa's pata, right? Meshasa's pata for inciting the dog. For the more of a chayiv bal kelev, and the bal kelev is chayiv. Now, the bal kelev will be chayiv, but not the one that caused the damage, but the owner of the dog. He had to watch his dog. If you're telling me that what? That the mouth of the dog is kechatzer mazik, lemalei, my boy yotcha b'pumei the cowboy. Rabbi, you think you had a problem with taking the cookie? What's your hand doing? Now, guys, this is a taina. In other words, Rabbi, to answer your question, it's not a mitzi. It's a legal loophole taina. It's not a mitzias question. In other words, if you can view it pimazik, why is the balak halav chayev? What's the guy's hand doing in the mouth? Right? What's he doing in the mouth? So now, says the Gemara Vaita. My boy Yaakov from the Kalvi, Ema Potter, Af Meshasa. So Ema Potter, Af Meshasa. My boy Yaakov the Pum the Kalboy. So it says the Gemara, Ema Potter, we answer up Af Meshasa. In other words, you're right. The Balkelev P Paris P Mazik, guys. P Paris Kemazik. And who's Potter? The owner of the dog is Potter. But not only is the owner of the dog Potter, Af Meshasa, even the Meshasa's Potter. In other words, it wasn't the Meshasa's Potter and the Bal Kelev Chayiv. Zecher the Bal Kelev Chayiv. Why? Because the dog's mouth is kapi mazik tummy, and you have no right being in that mouth. And you know what the chiddush is? Afa Meshasa, even the one who put the action and motion over here, he's also Potter. Okay. Now, Iboy Yasema, the Afke Lenivye Vesarte. You know what happened over here? That the dog's fangs, you never made it into the mouth. The dog opened its mouth and exposed its fangs, and it went ahead and the dog's fang extends beyond its mouth, and as well as the snake's, and it went ahead and it bit you. But memela, you were never in the mouth, so it's not nageya to the whole shaila pi para. It's kechatzer and it's a kechatzer mazik. So two ways to avoid your. In other words, what's your question? Your question is to say that it's obviously it must be kechatzer nizik. No, I could say it's kechatzer mazik. And I could say one or two things: either that they're both potter because it's chatzar mazik, or because why? Because it never went in there. It never was in the chatzar because it was the fangs outside. Tashma.
But isn't that normal? Isn't that the normal way then?
What's normal?
Of biting. You know, the way if it bites you and it's the fact that its fangs are outside the mouth, that would be the normal way of doing it. So why isn't it?
So it's chayev.
Yeah,
he's chayev. That's chayev. That's the second teretz. He's chayev.
Okay.
That's the second teretz. The second teretz is you be chayev. Tashma. I'm sorry, I didn't speak that out. Heshi's correct. You be chayev, right? You be chayev. You never made it into the mouth. The Bal Kelev didn't watch it, and therefore what? You're chayev. Tashma. Hishich bayas hanachash. Now over here, guys, you didn't incite the snake. You took the snake and you put it on the person's hand. Rabbi Yehuda Mechayev. It's like shooting him. It's like stabbing him. You basically took a syringe and injected venom into him. The Chachamim poitrim. The Chacham say you pata. Now this machloikis, guys, is contingent. Listen to this outside. Do you view the venom already in the mouth of the snake, and therefore when you put it down, you took the venom directly in, so it's adam mazik, or there's another action that has to take place after you put the fangs in? The snake has to go ahead and pulsate his venom gland. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda holds Yipata, he holds the eris is there already, the venom is there already. The Chacham who hold Yechayev, the venom is there already. The Chacham say the Yipata, even there, it's only a grama. Why? Because when you put it down, you still have the action of what of the snake injecting. So that's the machlokes. But the bottom line is we're going to see it's nagei the shaila of piparis kechatzer mitzvah kechatzer mazik nami. Okay, says more. V'omer Rabbi Acha Yaakov kishetim saloim l'div Rabbi Yehuda eres nachash ben shinav hu oimed. The eres of the nachash is outside on his fangs. Lefikach, and therefore machish b'sayif. He gets decapitated, right? Because he killed someone. The nachash potter, and the nachash would be potter. The divrei chachamim, because the nachash didn't do anything; it was there already. The divrei chachamim eres nachash me'atzmai makya. He goes ahead and injects it himself. The fikach nachash b'skila. The nachash would get skila, right? As every shar haniskal, guys, right? Every animal that kills a human being gets skila, and umakish potter as grama, and the makish potter prama. Okay, so that's the explanation, guys. So the explanation of the Mishnah in Sanhedrin. Very interesting Mishnah. Like Rabbi Yehuda, who says the makish is chayiv, is because he did the whole action, and the nachash did nothing because the nachash didn't inject anything. Therefore, the nachash would not get skila. Like Rabbi Yehuda, like the Chachamim that say you potter because it's grama, because the nachash did everything. The nachash went ahead and injected it. He would get skila, and the makish would be potter as grama. Again, potter b'din yodam chayim nishamayim. What's the shaila bayos? Gets this. Let the owner of the nachash say, "My boy yotcha b'pumi d'chavyoy." What is your hand doing in my snake's mouth? Again, obviously, again, it's a koyach hataina, right? What's it doing there? You stuck it in there. What's it doing there? So therefore, we don't understand why the nachash is getting skila like the chachamim. If you're telling me that the pipara is the pipara's chatzar masik, what's your hand doing in my nachash's mouth, right? And the nachash shouldn't get killed. Says the Gemara, this kind of guys of pipara kechatzar nisik chatzar masik dami is only le'inyan nizikin. Le'inyan misa, we're not going to say that. If a man goes into another person's rishus, you can't say you're trespassing, I'll kill you. This is not Dallas. This is not Texas. You're in my rishus after 8 o'clock and I can kill you, right? It's not, a person trespasses, he doesn't have the right to be there, but you don't have the right to kill him. So therefore, it could be pipara is kechatzar mazik dami. And the you know why you're killing the snake? Because if the snake bites the person and the person dies, then he's going to get skila because he did everything. His mouth is kechatzar mazik, it shouldn't be there. That's only the nizikin. It's only the nizikin is the shaila. The Indian katala, there's no shaila. Uminot temre, how do you know this? Here's how you know it. Uminot temre titanya. Hanichnas chatzar balabayis shloi b'shus. A person goes into the chatzar of the mazik. V'nokchu shoyroi shel balabayis. And the balabayis goes ahead what? And his shor kills him. So you go into Harry's rishus. Harry's shor kills you. Umeis. Hashor b'skila. Harry's shor is going to die. Ubaylim p'tur min ha'kaifer. Good. Now, why is Harry's shor dying? Why don't you taina? What were you doing in my rishus? So what do you see? When it comes to misa, you don't say, what are you doing in my rishus? By nezikim we say it, but not by what? By misa. Ubaylim p'tur min ha'kaifer. But the owner will not pay kofer. Usually when a shor mu'id kills, the owner pays kofer. Ubaylim p'tur min ha'kaifer my taima. Damalei risusi my boyas. What are you doing in my rishus? Shari nami lemalei my boy rishusi. Shari also. Why does the shor die? What is the taina? Why are you doing in my rishus? Eli have a good raya. Eli le'inyan katala le'aminon. Le'inyan when it comes to killing, we don't say what. What are you doing in my rishus? The snake, according to Chachamim, the snake is going to get skila. The snake will get skila. Guys, so again, notice the Gemara was not poishit the shaila. The Gemara just went ahead and explained the shaila. The Gemara wanted to be poishit the shaila. It attempted from the Gemara in Sanhedrin. It failed to be poishit the shaila. But we have our psak from where? Kelev shenatel charara, v'hachol gadish. He's eating the charara in the field of the gadish. He's paying for the charara. He's paying for the gadish. And we don't say pipara kechatzer ha mazik dami, or else you would be chayav for the charara. Guys, good? It's good. Again, you understand what the flow. Nice, interesting flow of the Gemara. Okay, just to finish off with a few meisim that happened. What happened over here? Hanu easy debate Tarbi. There was this place Beit Tarbi, and there were these goats from the Mishpacha Tarbi, and they were mafsile Rabbi Yosef. They were causing Rabbi Yosef. They were going to Rabbi Yosef's rishus, and they'd be mafsik. Amr Rabbi Yosef said to Abaye, Zil Emelahu Limarayu, go tell B'nai Tarbi, go say that what? The Litzininu, that to go ahead and watch his east and put them away. I don't want them damaging me. Amr Abaye said to Rabbi Yosef, Amai Ezel, why should I go? Diaz Linan, if I do go, Amali, they're going to tell me, Ligdor Mar Gidei Bare. If you want to make sure that my animal doesn't go into Rishus, go ahead and build a fence. So why should I go? You hear this? You have two properties. There's an easement, but there's no fence. And this one goes in. And Abaye wants a taina that this guy's going to say, why don't you build a fence? Mashma, that without the fence, it'd be potter. If you look at Taisus, guys, let's see Taisus. Yochel Meima Ligdo Mar Gedera Ba'ara. Abaye was slipping away from Rabbi Yosef. He didn't want to go there. For whatever reason, he didn't want to go there. So in other words, he's saying words that are not halachically correct. The Tanan, we learned in the Daf Yomi, we learned this. If the animal eats inside the store, correct? Guys, if the animal inside the store, you're going to pay Masha Zika, you're going to pay for Shane. What could the owner of the ox taina? You should have kept your door closed, right? You should have kept your store closed. So what do you see? It's not a real taina to say that the fence should be fenced. If you eat on the sides of the rechava, we said yechayev masha zika. To lift the bal hakelev min hacharara. And why the bal hakelev also should be part of the charara because there wasn't a fence there. Ella so says and Rav Alphys the Rif, just concluding. Pasak Rav Yosef Abaye Hiduchuya Ba'almahu. So this din of Abaye, that Abaye was tying to Rav Yosef, you know what? I'm not going over there because the guy will have a taina to pata. This is not a taina to pata. Abaye just wanted to avoid going over there. But no, a person has a chiyah to be shomer his animals to make sure they don't go into the other person's jurisdiction, and the other person is not required to go ahead and put a fence to go ahead and stop them from going in. And he brings clear-cut rayas from Gemaras that we just learned. Prata, achle bechanus mashenenes, achle bepesach hachanus is mashenenes, mitoich hachanus is mashazika. Why mitoich hachanus mashazika? Keep your door closed. And the answer is no. You don't have to keep your chanus closed, and therefore why you're chayiv. So therefore, and the Rif goes ahead and he says that Rabbi Yosef is correct. He was correct in telling that Tarbu to keep his animals to himself, and Abaye was just avoiding the issue. That's a very, very nice Taisus to know. Says the Gemara, the igodar. And if you put together up, in other words, okay, let's say you put up the fence and the animals would go in. So therefore you never have a case of shame. In other words, if you have a fenced in property, you never have a case of shame. Obviously, without a fence, there's a case of shame, it goes in. If there's a fenced property and it's a good shmira, now we know that a person doesn't have to put the fence up from Tosfos, but based upon the Gemara, it's in the Havamim. The Gemara is saying, and if you have to put a fence up, you'd be partner. Says the Gemara, how would you ever find the case of shame? Says the Gemara, Kisha Chasra, that we spoke about the animal dug underneath. Or it fell down at night, and the person can't possibly know about it. That would be a case of shame. So don't think that don't think a biased taina did not have any weight to it. It did have weight to it. It's incorrect, as we saw from our Gemara. But previously in Daf Yomi, but in the Havamim of the Gemara, it would have patted the guy and had you find a case of shame where an animal would dig underneath, or the fence would fall down in the night. Machaz of Yosef, the Itema Rabba. Some say it was of Yosef, or some say it was Rabbi. They called out the following. Hachraza means that they made a public statement. The Sokin Ela, those who go up from Babel to Eretz Yisrael, those people who go up from Babel to Eretz Yisrael. Udenachmin latata, or those people go down from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, right? Hani easy the shuka. These goats that are in the shuk, now they're waiting there to be for the Yom HaShuk. It seems people would come, and remember they didn't have refrigeration, so their meat was very fresh. They would wait for people to come to shech these goats. So they're waiting for people to come, and you have these wild goats running around. He said they made an announcement: if the mafsidi, if they go ahead and damage before the Yom HaShuk. Masriyim b'marayu trei b'til sezimna. We're going to warn the owners 2 or 3 times that you should watch them. Sayis. If they listen to us, fine. V'iloi, and if not, Amrlei, we're going to say to the butchers, Tiv masachta. Go ahead, sit in your place and get ready to shech. The Kibbutz Zuzah and get your money. Well, in other words, if they don't watch him before the Yom HaShuk, we'll go ahead, even though there aren't people to buy the meat there, we'll go ahead and check them beforehand to assure that what they don't do damage. As Hashem, tomorrow morning we will have share again. A good tefach to everybody.